Attention! All things shared in this video are simply the opinions of the Unexplained Files. The following footage is not tampered with, and all of the events and reactions are unplanned and genuine.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Unexplained Files, the greatest YouTube channel, paranormal YouTube channel in the UK, and perhaps one day even the world. We are slowly growing the channel. This is a podcast, before I forget to mention that, I've just completely skipped over that. This is our podcast where we talk about whatever we fancy. We always yap a lot when we're in an investigation or whenever we're doing anything, so this is our space to just talk about whatever, try to keep it towards the paranormal or unexplained or whatever fascinates us about cryptids or spirituality or anything of the sort, really. So today, I don't think we have anything massively. Well, I know you mentioned you had some things you want to jump into later on, but first things first, we've just got over 600 subscribers. Woohoo!
601. Yeah,
601
cheers,
subscribers. We appreciate that very much. Our channel has been growing pretty quickly, like lately. We've been getting a lot of bursts of just like people joining on, and we're getting comments from regulars and sort of seeing new people contributing more, and that's really exciting.
Yeah,
and
nice.
I'm proper excited about it because I know we've got good stuff, like interesting videos coming up. Like in a couple of weeks, we're going to be filming some aesthetic and B-roll shots for a video I'm looking forward to, and we've got some places to return to and some bigger projects that are going to be, I think, new for the channel and a step up in what we've done. So I'm excited for that. So to have more people to come along and to be hyped for it,
Definitely be cool.
I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely be cool.
But I tell you what, we've been doing pretty good for like variety and stuff on the channel. Even in the last couple of months, we've had like some case files on cult stuff, which I think was new to the channel. We've done something that's been really successful, is the big cat videos.
Yeah,
People have been enjoying
yeah.
that a lot, and that's been a cool experience because that, in a way, that's how the case files started. Back in the day, we did the Dogman one and went out and explored, and that was the very first case file, and it kind of then went into what it is now. So to go back out there and do that again, that was fucking awesome. I loved filming that video.
And getting out, just out on Dartmoor and that, it was a cool experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, because obviously when we go out and film our ghost hunts, we get to go out and experience it. But otherwise, it's mostly just we're sitting at home, sort of putting things together. And whenever we do a video like the going out to Dartmoor, I'm always like, oh, how's this going to turn out? Is it going to make a good video? But it came together really well. And it was really put together video.
It's kind of similar when we did the Dogman one. It's
Yeah.
like the idea is there of going out and what to do, and then you get there and you're like, just not sure where to start. Really.
Yeah.
You just film
It's like you
and
just got to film as much as you can, and then you can piece it together when you get back. It's like, I want to make a giant puzzle, so I'm just going to make as many pieces as I can and just try and stick a few together and see what it makes. But no, that was fun. I really enjoyed filming that one. But some of the ones that we've got coming up, I'm looking forward to. Do we want to talk about them or keep them a mystery for now?
Don't mind talking about them.
Well, the one that we're filming for in a couple of weeks, we've got our Grey Lady in Tower of London video. So we're heading off to London, so we're going to be using that opportunity to film the tower and hopefully make a good video out. I know, it is the tower with the Grey Lady spirit that they see.
I'm not too sure, I'll be honest. But
There's supposed to be countless spirits that are at a tower, but I think the Grey Lady is the one that stands out. There was a story of one of the beefeaters on guard who apparently, when someone was looking out, the sort of head guard was looking out the window and he saw him just like look terrified and just sprint away, or I don't know if he passed out and they got up and ran away or something, and he claimed he saw a woman who was like pale and it freaked him out and he ran. So there's something to do with that, and I think we could probably get into that and put that in the video as well.
that'd be cool.
But there is like famous spirits that stand out in the tower, so we could make a video about that. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it was like I was saying to you the other day, and I'll make sure we snap loads of photos, because you always see them ones, people just take photos and then they get home and look through them and then they'll see like a face in a window or something like that. That's another one that'd be cool to go. Is it Kensington Court Palace or something like that, where they had the CCTV footage where suddenly the big doors fly open and it looks like a figure in like old.
I've seen that clip. I saw that clip on an Almost Haunted episode. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's a few years back, not loads of years, but it was a few years back now that was captured.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. Yeah.
It's walking around somewhere. I wonder if it was where that photo was. I'll have to forward you that photo and see if you can put it on there, because if that's real, that's pretty.
That's a mad one. Yeah. There's a lot of places like Tudor palaces and things like that in the country we could go to film. So depending on how the Tower of London one goes, might have to start making a few more like that, because I'm a bit like, how are we even going to make this video? Because recording and like scripting and recording there is going to be a bit difficult, but B-roll shots and kind of aesthetic stuff to keep the feel of the tower, we can do that.
I can imagine we can do it similar like we would film a case file, just turn up and walk around and film and chat a little bit on the way around.
Definitely. Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. Depending on how this plays out, I think it's going to give me like either the green light or not to see whether there's a lot more of these videos we can make. Because I've been following a load of places on Instagram. There's some like Tudor palaces and places where like the royals have stayed and stuff throughout history that I thought, though the travel might be a lot for some of them, a lot of them are in the south of England anyway, so we could get to some of those, and they've always got like ghost stories and cool shit like that. So
that's where really the only problem lies, is if we have to go there when obviously it's open to the public. We just have to.
But then if the Tower of London one works and we find that formula, then it won't matter if the places are open. So that's what I'm saying. If we can figure that one out, it'll open up a lot of doors for the channel.
For the most part, a lot of them people are kind of spread out and just walking around looking about. So you should be
There's
fine.
ways to get around it. You just got to find quiet spots if you want to actually speak to the camera, or there's always like B-roll and aesthetic shots to kind of fill in, and then like voiceovers and whatever. But that's like the behind the scenes of putting these videos together. That's always the challenge of it. We've done a good job of it so far. Like my favourite one that we managed to put together that I was nervous about was Bob in Jail, because that was so many people were about. But I think we warmed up to being on the camera when other people were around, and then it came together really well. But I was for a while thinking, how am I going to put this one together?
If we can do that again, that would be cool. But
I reckon we should.
It would be nice with less people there, but we can make it work if it ain't. So.
Well, I mean, who knows? If the channel gets bigger in the future, it might be an opportunity. We just book out the place and take a big team of our own down there. That'd be cool. That's something I think I'd be interested in to do in the future with subscribers. If we do make like a Discord or something like that where we've got people we talk to a lot and want to be involved, we could possibly get a group together to take to Bob in Jail and just host a big investigation.
That'd be sick.
I'd love to do something like that. Yeah, if you want to see that, guys, or you'd want to be involved in that, let us know, because we could put that together. That could be an exciting thing to do. But yeah, we've got some good ones. What was one of the other? Oh yeah, we've got the inn that we were going to be. I don't know if we're going to be staying there for the night to film there, or if it'll just be a go there and film.
We haven't decided. It could be an overnight, or it could just be there for a couple of hours or something.
I like the thought of an overnighter, because the last one we did was the White Hart, wasn't it? In a hotel at least, and I loved that. I know we split it into a 2-part, and that was really cool.
Like I said, anyway, I'm going to speak to the lady closer to the time, and then we can
go from
figure
there.
that out then.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do the night there.
No, speaking of the White Hart, I want to go back there again. We can probably put these ones, because now we're getting towards the end of the year, we can start thinking about what we're going to be doing next year and big investigations for there. And I think next year is going to be a good one for getting some bigger investigations. And we'll do another Bob in Jail. We'll do the White Hart. I think we should probably try and get some more hotels and stuff. Like, we live relatively close to a hotel that's got a lot of ghost stories and stuff kicking off, so there's an opportunity there. It's just about
the only good thing about this time of year is because it gets dark earlier. Any outdoor ones we can get out earlier.
Oh yeah.
The only downside is
in the peak of winter.
the weather.
In the peak of winter, you can be home by 6 or half 5 even, depending on how early you go out. So that's quite good.
And it's handy then, because we can go out during the week, because obviously we get up early. During the week usually, but if it's dark early, it's handy in the winter time to be able to get out. I think so.
No, it's been fun. I'm really enjoying it. Like, there was a brief while where I was a bit like, it felt like we were slowing down a little bit, and I didn't know what was going on with it. But then once we sort of split up how we were doing it, where it became an investigation one week and then another type of video, the next maybe a case file, and then investigation, then something else. Like, because put it back into the channel, like, because I was able to get excited about what the next big project was going to be, and we were putting time into getting all of our things going. Because I mean, we haven't done a react in a while, but You know, I think the last Reacts actually was the big cat one.
Yeah.
So we've got our Reacts playlist, which some of the people enjoy, and it sort of has its place on the channel. We've got our investigations, we've got case files and podcasts and stuff like that, and maybe even, you know, depending on if we can get hold of people, like interviews and stuff like that as well. So it's good to have a time for all of it whilst keeping the investigations as the core of it.
Because that's something we started. Yeah, we haven't done, like when we done a stream with like Monty and that.
Yeah.
We haven't done anything like that with anyone yet. So if we could get someone on, maybe that guy with the big cat. You got
I
the
would
big
want
cat evidence.
the big cat evidence is going to be an interesting one, I think, because we can keep a series about big cats and try and follow it as it develops. But I don't know if I'd want to do it live because that's
we pre-recorded.
We don't need to edit it. Just make sure it's all clean and everything.
Like a kind of podcast.
Yeah,
someone's on there. Yeah.
That'd be an interesting one. But it would be good to sort of get those interviews going as well, because I want to, if we start in like next year, we do start doing like a White Hart or whatever like that, I want to start interviewing people there if they're comfortable doing it. I want to try and step that up a little bit. And so if we go to a White Hart, because remember when we first went to the White Hart, there was the guy who checked us in. His name was Ryan as well.
Yeah.
He was showing us around and talking to us, and I think he was happy to be on camera. We just didn't know what we wanted to do with that. So if we get interviews and stuff done here, and I get used to it, could probably get better at doing it on location as well.
I'm sure this lady should be happy to be on camera.
Yeah.
Where we're going next month, so we'll start with that, and we can grow some confidence with doing that.
Yeah, because I think if you want to document a space and what goes on in its history and its paranormal like happenings, there's no better people than the people that are there all the time.
Right.
Because they're going to be the people you'd hope that wouldn't go there and be like any bump and bang. They know what the normal sounds of it are and what they aren't, and they might know the history, and they're connected to it as well. So I want to try starting getting that into it, and that'll really elevate the investigations, I think, anyway. But either way, I'm happy with the investigation so far. It's just
that's our main pull at the moment, but like obviously we still have people that enjoy the other stuff too. And it's, even if they didn't, we'd still put it on because we're doing stuff we enjoy. You know, and that's why we started the channel to do.
I do love our investigations, but one thing that excites me about them. Shut up! One thing that excites me about our investigations is when.
Should we go shut the door? Cause
even if we shut the door, it'll still ring through. Let me go.
It won't be quite as loud.
Well, we might. No, he's all right. He's calmed down for a second. Yeah, one thing I love about investigations, especially the bigger ones, is there's like an excitement about them because they're like a bigger project that are coming out. I get so hyped to go do it and then see it come together before it gets posted. So we definitely need a few more of those in the books.
That's my main thing I enjoy doing because like you say, we're getting out and about. It's exciting. Get that bit of an adrenaline rush.
The thrill of it. Yeah. I was looking back through some of our videos actually. I rewatched the abandoned dairy one. I was trying to show my friend the clip where we were going along the bridge between the two buildings and the car shoots underneath. Whew. That was a fucking hell of a moment. Capturing that on camera to be able to share with people is crazy as well, because sometimes I forget. I'm sat in my room and it will hit me and I'm just like, shit, I was there and that happened. I'm just like, that was fucking crazy, and I completely forget we've done any of it. So to be able to look back and think, wow, we were out and we did all those things, makes me wonder what the fuck are we going to do in the future.
And it's it's even better to look back at it now, because as far as I know, that place has been properly demolished now.
So we documented it, and that's that. Yeah. It's a shame that it's been pulled down, but so cool that we got the opportunity to go there and sort of try and document it. And although nothing paranormal happened, the feel and the adventure of it was so exciting that I loved part of that.
It was a
fucking crazy video.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, there might be some more crazy ones like that in the future.
Oh, I've no doubt.
Even like the abandoned school. That was
that was
freaky. That was more so because
we knew there were unsavory people going to and from, and that was a lot bigger than us. So that was a freaky one. I've got a couple of friends who would love to be on the channel at some point, and I said to them, because there'd be more of us there, it might be interesting to maybe go back to some of the places we've not been able to get to because they've been blocked off. Because we went to one of the places that we went to with that the ballroom and all that stuff and the abandoned pool and all that, couldn't get there because you go there and on the road in there's sign. Not only is it like technically boarded off anyway, as soon as you get down there, there's like a sign where these people have made a massive pile of rubble. They've pulled down a tree to try and block anything from getting in, and it just says, "This place is ours. No one welcome," and sort of like something out of The Walking Dead or something, like dead inside. You know, just like, oh god.
Yeah, it's pretty. I didn't feel safe to go there just in case.
Because in my head, I'm going, we've got equipment with us, and these people aren't like reasonable, so it wasn't worth it. But if there's more of us, then it's a different story. I might feel a bit more confident. It might be like, maybe we can risk going there now.
And the chances are there was probably no one there when we went, but you
don't
know.
But you don't want to risk it. That's the thing.
You never know. So but like you say, with more people there.
Yeah, and these are people that a couple of them. I've mentioned one of them on the channel before because some of the paranormal experiences I've had and he's had, I've mentioned it, and he'd be happy to sit down with us at some point and film about that. But it would be cool to start building like a community that's not more active, because we do get a lot of comments and they're always appreciated. But I'd love to maybe start up a Discord where people can join it and we can interact and they can share their stories and stuff. I've been thinking about that a lot recently, because if we wanted to do, say, a Bob in Jail where we get a group of people together, having a community is the perfect place to organise it. And you know, if we want to do interviews with people, we could sit just on a call with someone in a private chat and just interview over that, and they could tell us their stories and stuff they've experienced.
It's nice, it's fun and all. Like, there's a new person started at work and they're really into the same kind of stuff too.
Yeah,
get such a buzz just chatting with them, because it's just like finding someone that likes the same stuff too, and then you can just get us a proper good.
It does, yeah. So that's why I think a Discord would be such a good. To be fair, we have got the starting of a Discord made. I'm just putting it together at the minute, and
that's all on you, that, because I have no clue what goes on with Discord.
I'm pretty good with it, but I'm just trying to lock it in tight. And for the beginnings, it'll only be a small Discord anyway. I don't think a lot of people would want to be in it at first. But as it grows, I just need to make sure that it's properly moderated and locked up, so no trouble can happen. Because obviously you create an online space and you're getting people come together and meet. You are responsible to some degree what happens in between them. So you've got to have things in place to make sure no one's causing trouble and
it's a safe sort of place. We're still quite a small channel there, so moderating comments on our channel is easy at the moment.
We can do that, yeah. And obviously if when we start up a Discord for people who are wanting to go out and investigate and stuff, it would be a small enough Discord where we can manage that anyway. Yeah. So I'm just putting it together and drafting up all the rules and all that stuff, and it'll be free to join. I was thinking about maybe we can put it behind a Patreon, but for now, I think I just want to, because we're still a small channel, I want to build that community of the people who were right there at the start. So we'll get the Discord going, get that free. People can jump in. Maybe down the line, when we've got a lot more demand, we can maybe put like a barrier of entry before people come in, or maybe like the Discord can be free, but there might be like extra perks where they can go and watch videos early or do things like that that would be behind a paywall if they want it, but it's not. You don't have to.
So it's not like excluding anyone. Anyone can come in, but if
anyone can come in and they get the basic. They can chat to everyone and jump in calls with people and like all that sort of stuff. But let's say people want videos a week, like a few days early. That's the place they can find them, and maybe they just pay like, I don't know, $5 a month or something, and that gives them access to it, and they can just chill there. But I'm still putting all that together,
yeah. But because they're like, I know we talked about, we can have something set up where we can jump in at a set time with everyone else. So like they can chat with us and stuff like that.
Yeah, we could do really like a month. That's one thing. Like we can obviously jump in and just talk to whoever. But then if we wanted like closer time with specific people later down the line, that might be the way to do it. Because obviously the more demand you get, it's like you can't just be on call 24/7 talking to 500 people. It's just not how that works. So you could maybe limit it a little bit so that maybe 25 people can all jump into a call, or 15 people, whatever, once a month, and just chat about whatever's going on paranormal wise for them. So, but that's stuff to be worked down the line. I know some people get funny about when you talk about like adding like a price to it, but at the end of the day, we're putting the time and effort in, and the more time and effort in, you've got to try and get some kickback because it takes the pressure off.
Yeah, and the amount of money we've already put into this channel, and,
thousands.
Yeah, and we're still, like, probably you and all, I'm paying each month for like video editing software and stuff like that we have to use.
But I love it. So
I'm not saying that as in, you owe us. It's not like that at all. But I'm just saying we're putting money and time and effort into it. So why should we not get anything back? Yeah, exactly. If people want
the reason I want to try and kick money into this is because then I can bin my fucking job off and I can get doing this and I can really put the energy into making it something huge, because that's what I want, building a community and like getting people involved. Like in the future, I would love to have like a web, like we've talked about it before. The reason it's called the Unexplained Files is because I want to document and catalogue things, and that's what I really love about this whole thing. I would love to have a website where, or like a community in general, where we have all these places and things you can do and places to explore catalogued, where if you're in a local area, or if you're in like a certain part of the country, you can go to the Unexplained Files, check like your local area and see the history of places and if people have gone there, what they've experienced, like catalogue the paranormal and build it out that way. The only way we're going to be able to achieve something like that is if we're putting all of our time and energy into it. And unfortunately, you can't just bum about not earning anything and be able to do something like that. So the bigger visions for the channel have to be realised, but slowly bring it in. Because I remember getting people making comments being like, oh, you think you could make money out of this and blah 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 blah. I'm like, don't hate us because you ain't us, dude. Calm it down, it's fine.
It's just the same as doing any other job, you know. You put your time and effort into it, and hopefully at the end of the day you get paid for doing it. Like what. And this is like what we enjoy, what we'd like to do. So I don't see any harm in it at all. It's just some people just get pissed off because
they want to do it. I think, or they want something like that.
There might be some jealousy there, or they're just pissed off in general. I don't know,
but either way, like I've got exciting plans going forward. Like I think that the Discord I'm going to start putting, because I have the Discord made. I'm just making sure all the channels are in there and all the sort of technical stuff works behind the scenes, and then I'm drafting up like rules and stuff like that so that people, if they breach it, we can boot them and all that stuff, because I've been in positions where people haven't done that properly and it never ends well. But it'd be nice, because you think if we might have someone who's a fan of the channel and wants to talk, and they're up in the north, for example, for us to get up there would be very difficult, but if they've got news, like paranormal news up there, and they can share that and the community can come together and enjoy that, then it's all part of it. And I just want that community feeling, because you get it a little bit in the comments, but really bringing it together, having a place for people to come and chat and talk, that's the dream right there.
Yeah, like the more people you can get together, the better, you know, and you can all help each other out with places to go and new ideas and what's trending at the moment and stuff like that. So.
What they saw and theories and all that good stuff. I'm just trying to break it up, because I love channels for like talks about cryptids and like aliens and spirits and any sort of theories and things like that. So it'd be good to do that in the future. And I mean, obviously, in the comments we had someone bring up in the big cat video that they were involved with finding the DNA of the big cat. If you had a Discord or like a big community, that's perfect for something like that, because you get all manner of people jump into it, and then you can sit and actually have a conversation one-on-one and figure out, right, okay, what's your story, and then you can learn more about the people side of it as well. Because that's one thing. Paranormal was great, but you know, it's the people as well. They're just as big a part of it. So that's what I want to pull together.
Sure. Yeah, I think as the channel grows, we'll get more and more people, because you know, obviously at the moment the investigations are our biggest views and that, but there's still a lot of people that are interested in the other stuff, and I think as more people get to know the channel, that have a broader interest in things.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, even in the UK there is fairly big scenes for ufology and sort of like Bigfoot and big cats, and each cryptid has got its own group of people. So if we can kind of pull everyone together and really build up the community, who knows what could be found, you know what I mean? Like connecting people. Like if you're a person who's into Bigfoot and you're in the north of the country and there's someone in the south and you've both got stories that are similar, you can come together and brainstorm, and who knows what comes out of that. So you just got to connect people and see what goes. Sure. And so we might be able to start bringing that together.
Lots of plans and ideas in the pipeline.
Oh yeah, but those things are more abstract and a bit longer down the line. Definitely looking forward to the Tower London video. Is going to be awesome.
I'm looking forward to that.
And
that's
then the
not
in
long
a
away
few
as
months.
Well.
Yeah, I got my email 2 weeks until we go. Yeah, I got the email yesterday, so it's 2 weeks yesterday that we head out there. So it's going to be so exciting.
So what else is new with you? What have you been looking into anything lately different?
I've not been seeing a lot of paranormal stuff kicking off, to be honest. The only thing I keep seeing is I saw an article, I think it was about something to do with the Loch Ness Monster, where there was something about a long-necked creature that they'd found, but I didn't really massively go into it at the time.
Well,
I was like, I'll come back to that later. I don't know if it was the remains or whether there was more sightings and more things have kicked off, and there was something about it wasn't in the normal like locks and stuff like that. It was like further out and north where they had been found, or where it had been sighted. I need to try and go back and find it, but that's what I've been seeing popping up. I do see things from time to time in the news, but that's been the one that keeps coming back. Other than that, there's not really been a great deal of like paranormal that I've been seeing, to be honest. But then I've not researched anything, and I've been going more into like the cult and true crime side of things for like case files in the future. But paranormal, I've not really seen a great deal. And after our Big Cats video, I've not really been seeing anything of that either.
No, I don't. Yeah, because every now and again I'll see an article pop up about it, but
other than that, it's just hard to find.
Because I'm sure I saw one recently of a sighting, of a new sighting. I'm trying to think where it was now. Can't remember where it was now, but there was a recent sighting, like in a village or near a village or something like that. I don't know, because I didn't read through the article. I just saw the headline. And I was like, oh, another one.
Sometimes you're just graced with the perfect story that just it plops a news story in your lap, and then you fall down a rabbit hole, and that's it. Like now you got your next video planned, and it's something that's new and relevant and exciting. And then other times I'll go weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and I don't see anything paranormal unless I seek it out.
Right.
But the problem is when you try and seek it out, a lot of what comes up is on YouTube, especially just your list videos, and I'm like, there's a place for that, and that's great. But if I want to delve into like what's the new exciting thing that's happening in the paranormal world, what findings have been found, or what cryptids about, you can't do it that way. It kind of needs to find you in a way.
Yeah, and there's so much cack out there anyway, like all kind of made up shit and fake stuff, and it's just like you start getting irritated with it, and you stop looking, then didn't you? Like, I just can't be bothered with this.
The sensationalized fucking articles and
not, you know, obviously like some of our stuff we do, there's no video or anything like that of it. We're just talking about what we've heard of and stuff like that. So it's not like it, but some people just go out making like, shit up just to get a view.
There are certain types of like websites or blogs or channels that are specifically using it just for the sake of getting a lot of attention. All the list videos that we find on a lot of the React videos we do are those types of channels where it's like 10 craziest skinwalker videos, and it's not. And then in 2 weeks' time, you'll go back to the same channel, and it's crazy serial killer encounters. The same fucking clip from the Skinwalker videos back in this one again, and they've got a whole new narrative with it, and they're terrible. And articles can be even worse for it. There's always what is that one website that I keep coming across? Is it called like Ancient Origins or something like that?
That sounds familiar.
They do a lot of like, if you've ever seen an article where it's like new development on how they made the pyramids and strange objects found under pyramids, you'll go to the website and it's a fucking Ancient Origins one. And it's always, you'll go down and then on the side there's the Gaia fucking advert for their network, and then there's this spiritual counselling and therapy advert, and you're just like, oh, here we fucking
I saw one of them articles lately, like a new theory of how the pyramids were built, like using some kind of lift thing or something, or
maybe.
I was like,
I don't keep up with it. Like, I love looking into that stuff, but it's so difficult because the second you do it, you're always on one of those websites, and it does my fucking head in.
What I've been looking into lately is more of the kind of lost advanced ancient technology. Like, I've been following a channel, if any of you guys have heard, what is it called again? Let me check it out. Stargate Portal, I think.
Oh, I've heard Stargate and I'm excited.
Let me think. Stargate Voyager, sorry, the channel. Like, he's on YouTube and on, what's it? Bloody hell. What was I watching him on? He was on Spotify as well. he does like a podcast on there, and he'll do podcasts with different people. And there's been different ones on there. He's done like listened to one earlier about kind of like Skinwalker Ranch and stuff like that. But he does like a lot of his stuff is to do like the ancient megalithic sites and all stuff like that. There's a quite interesting one at Scotland actually. I don't know how old it was, but it was talking about because he was reading from like a new article had come out. They said the altar stone that's in the centre, so that's now laying on its side, they've now discovered that it didn't come from like 16 miles away or wherever they thought. It's come all the way from the islands up at Scotland.
Bloody hell.
And brought all the way down here. And like, however old they think it is, like 10,000 years old or something like that. And it's like, how do they do that?
Yeah.
But like, the ones, like some of the Egypt stuff where you see some of these really weird cut walls and like megalithic blocks and that, and 1,000-ton obelisks and stuff, and like how did they move them? How did they carve them?
Well,
like, when they're supposed to have only had like copper chisels and mallets and that. It's like, no, there's something going on.
I think we don't give enough credit to ancient societies, to how developed and advanced they were.
And I think not necessarily back then at the Egyptians. I think there was something going on before that.
I do sort of prescribe to that theory where there were sort of advanced civilizations and then they fall, and then the remnants of that go back into like a natural tribal life, and so some of the knowledge is weirdly preserved in some of the traditions, and then people go back out and new empires and stuff like that. There's something that in that for me. I don't know if I'm firmly on board with it, but it feels right. So
there's got to be something, like some of the old structures and stuff that you see. It's like that's not possible to be done. Like even with modern technology, like you get even like stone cutters and people like that, and architects, and
it's like
they say that's not possible. Like we struggle to do that nowadays.
I mean, all over the world, different people. We've got this idea that like people progress in a linear fashion the whole world over, but it just isn't that way. Like 3,000 years ago here, or 4,000 years ago here, there were people building stone circles, using bronze tools and stuff like that. In Egypt, they were building the pyramids at that time. So it's just a different scale of industry and intelligence and science.
They could have been there longer.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? And the current theory is that that's what, or the current tradition, or not tradition, the current mainstream idea is that that's what's happening. So I think European history kind of does this thing where we've got the Dark Ages, or I know that's a bad way of putting it, they don't really like that anymore, but like throughout the medieval ages there was a big lack in civilization, was very structured and organised and I suppose industrial in a way, and then it rapidly sort of not regressed but changed back into quite rural, especially in like Britain and stuff. We went from the Romans and their type of industry and the imperial machine and all the stuff they had going on into mud hut living, very small village and stuff. And obviously that's not necessarily less advanced, it's just different priorities and moving in a different direction. So we've got this image that we've progressed from one point to another, and that means that the further back you go, the less you have. But like you look back at one of my favourite artifacts or like things from history is one of those, I think it's like I don't know if it's a Babylonian representation of like celestial bodies and stuff, and it's the blue silver plate, I don't know if it's like a copper plate with the stars and like a moon on it, and I remember seeing that when I was a kid. That's like advanced knowledge of like the stars and sort of cosmology and mapping that stuff out. That's crazy that people would have had that.
The ones I've seen that I find really fascinating is like them the old vases and jugs in Egypt and that.
Yeah.
And like, because the material they're made out of is like harder than like granite or something like that. But they're hollowed out like on angles and that, and they're like literally like millimeters thin. Like how can you do that? Like there's a little hole in the top where obviously where you'd pour out whatever. What did they use in there to hollow them out to like that precision? They've like doing all like laser measurements and stuff to like see how accurate they are. It's like
we just don't have a good understanding of like, we think that because the way our society is, we think that if a society was big enough and it fell, there would be remnants, and we run off that logic. And if there were communities and people who migrated and travelled, we'd be able to document and know it well enough that there's no way that we can't know what's happening. But like, even like people throughout Europe and stuff are moving all through the European continent and sort of people like that. There's the group of people just known as the Bell Beaker people, because all they've found is like very similar types of like pots and bell beakers, as you'd imagine, and they were like, and burial rites and stuff like that, where you had people buried with these types of ceramics and with like certain types of fibers and clothing and stuff like that. All we know about them is what we found. These were people who migrated across continents. That doesn't happen casually. That doesn't happen because people aren't organised in advance. If they've been travelling across continents, for example, and they've got consistent styles of worship and practice and art, they're still communicating backwards and forwards. And you know, it's mental enough to believe that you can talk to someone in Australia now, let alone 4,000, 5,000 plus further years ago. So we just don't have a good concept of how history, like where things were in history.
It's funny, isn't it? It's like people talk about history and when things were getting advanced, you think maybe like 5,000-6,000 years ago or something, but things must have gone on way longer before that.
Oh yeah, well, they're an entire kingdom. What is it the Aztecs that were about, or is it the Mayans that were about later? I forget which one comes first.
Don't remember,
Let me Google it, because I don't want to get it wrong, because they were two different communities at two very different time periods.
Yeah.
Let me find. Let's have a look. Right, so the Aztecs, we think of them as like a very huge civilization, and they were. They had, you know, their pyramids and sort of the stuff that they built, and their riches and their gold and all that stuff. And we know that they interacted with like the Spanish when they went over there, and there was like interaction where they tried to take their gold and all of that stuff. And we look at the Aztecs like a really old group of people, very like tribalistic people. They had a lot of tribal practices. They worshipped multiple gods and they sacrificed people and had all these crazy things. The Oxford University is older than their entire civilization and lasted longer.
Is it?
Yeah. So the Oxford University started sometime in like 1000s somewhere, and then the Aztecs was in like the 1300s to the 1500s. That's it. So we don't have this good concept of time. It just doesn't really exist. But we're so locked into this idea that we know what the fuck we're talking about, that we just overwrite
I
what's
think they
going
could
on.
have been advanced civilizations even like hundreds of thousand years back in time.
Could very well be. You'd never know.
And you've got like several of the ancient cultures that talk about like many cataclysms, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like where the world restarts or resets kind of thing.
In Hinduism, I won't claim to know all the details. I only know it very vaguely. But there's a thing that happens where after so much time, I don't know if it's Shiva does like a universal dance that breaks everything down and rebuilds it, and something new comes out of it, and there's like a reset. And then in Norse culture, there's something called Ragnarok, where the world just burns basically and is destroyed, and then out of the ashes a new world sort of springs forth.
Even the
from that.
Native Americans have a similar thing. I don't know what it was called, but they said there's been about 2 or 3.
Yeah, well, in all different faiths and stuff like that across the world, there's this thing of like ages that start and continue and stop and then restart and so on and so forth.
And
so
you've
there's
got to
something
think if all these cultures have a similar thing, there's got to be something there. Like, they're not just making it up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's something to it, but what that is, we don't know, and we probably will never know.
And it was funny, I was because I've been getting into my meditation a lot more lately and having some interesting experiences with that. I was chatting to someone about it at work, and then someone else, one of the other workers were there, like I don't work with, and that. And I was just thinking to myself, like, someone just listening in, they'd think you're fucking mad.
Yeah.
You know, it's like how closed off we are from other possibilities nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
People just think you're nuts talking about a lot of this stuff. So.
I think all of us are fucking crazy. Like, We have fucked ourselves that much that, like, our bodies literally have inbuilt chemical responses when we see blue light to respond and start waking us up, because we're so used to seeing sunlight or like ambient light changes that our bodies will now secrete the hormones we need to start waking us up and getting us ready for the day. And we say, fuck that, I'm going to go to work at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning in the pitch black because I need to earn money to pay bills and taxes. And that's not insane. Like, we're the sort of people, like I said to you the other day, we've got a gecko downstairs, or like I forget what type it is, some sort of reptile. And we won't turn the light on at night because they're used to coming out at night and we don't want to disturb his like rhythms and patterns and stuff. Yet we will happily eat shit and go to work at crazy times and not sleep enough and not have healthy sort of social relationships and sort of like routine and spiritual practices or anything like that because we're supposed to just be here and do that. Like, what the fuck? That's normal. But me thinking anything like that isn't. That's strange.
Sometimes I'm like, when you look at the state of the world, I'm like, are we like coming up to one of these resets or anything? Something? Because it's like everything's just building up in it, and there's like all these new threats of war coming up, and all these bloody superpowers trying to have control over people's freedoms are being taken away from them. You're like, where's it going to end? It can't just keep escalating and escalating. Something's got to happen. Like, maybe something positive will happen, I don't know, but you just feel like the way things are going is not a good direction.
I mean, shit, Rome fell, so we're all doomed one day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, out of risk of getting political, bloody hell, we need to be careful because that'll ignite the comments like no one's business.
I'm not getting political about
it.
But
I know what you mean. It's like we do live in an absolutely crazy world, and it is absurd that outside of the status quo, it seems insane to believe some of the things we believe. But I personally feel that's by design anyway. So it just is what it is. We operate on this basis of we've got so much access to information, and we've been told over such long periods of time to only believe what you can see and what you can prove. So what do people do before they knew that gravity was a fucking thing? They didn't know it was there, but it was real. And there was no way to they couldn't accept that. They couldn't prove that. Maybe there were people who were sort of coming onto the idea, and there were some people who understood it. But ultimately, gravity was still a fucking thing. So if you were a person in fucking, I don't know, Lancashire in fucking 1200, and you went up to a monk and went, so get this, right? See this apple, if I drop it, because the thing below you has got a shit ton more mass, this apple's not just falling because that's what's happened, it's being pulled to it. He'd go, what? And you'd probably get fucking killed or something for being a heretic or something. Like, but it is real, it was real, and you just can't prove it. So the fact that we are unwilling in any capacity to look outside the norm is ridiculous. But I think to some degree that is shifting, because the new age version of that is when you've got murder mystery makeup that slowly divulges into conspiracy theories and putting on makeup. And I love that the thing that's bringing outward, like outside, thinking outside the box back, is fucking 20-somethings putting on makeup for an hour long, talking about this crazy theory they heard about people are lying to us, and now all the fucking doors are swung open, you can question everything. I love that that's what's kicking off. But it is coming back, and people are questioning things.
I've been like talking to a few people lately, and it seems, well, in my experience or circle of people I spoke to, it sounds like more and more people are starting to get more interested in getting connected back to nature and that, because really we've lost that, haven't we?
For a few years I've been seeing a trend in that, not just in connecting to nature spiritually, but physically wanting to be healthier, physically wanting to understand when you're stood outside and you're hiking, I feel good, but why? What is there to that?
I think people were just questioning things a bit more, aren't they?
Yeah, well, like pagan practices are coming back. Like there's over the last couple of years, some of the biggest pagan gatherings have been held in places like Edinburgh, like the city centre, fire festivals and things like that kicking off, which that's people going back to spiritual roots that are faiths that are built around living in your environment not and like with not as just like a person who's surrounded by it, but as a part of it, and how you interact with it, and how sacred it is, and what it means, and why it's important. So to see that coming back in huge amounts is fucking incredible. So people are going back to it, and I think we're at an all-time high now of people just having absolutely zero faith in like the institutions that govern them and all the stuff that kicks off there.
Just getting tired of it, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're like, something's got to
change. Like 10 years ago, it was, oh, what do you think of this party and these people? They'd be like, oh, they're useless, but they're politicians, so what do you expect? But now it's like everyone's gone from what do you expect to, yeah, I know it's bollocks, we need to do something. And it's ramping up where people just don't want what is and what has been for for that long anymore.
It seems like the further on things go, more and more of your freedoms are being taken, like, you know, all the taxing and stuff like that's just getting out of hand, and all the things seem to be crumbling down. Like now they're letting people out of the jails because they can't house them or afford them and stuff like that, and it's like,
everything's just different now. It's all.
Yeah, but I think we spoke about it before, didn't we? Like, even when I was growing up in the 80s, and that how different things are to now, you know, like even silly things like you only had 4 channels on the TV, and they didn't have internet or anything like that. Just had your most advanced computers like a Atari or Commodore 64. And now you got so much distraction, like fucking hundreds of channels and internet phones that people just attach to 24/7. And
I mean, like when you might. The difference between the generations is like, if you were born, you know, like when you were born, for example, you could have what kids did in the summer was go on camping trips with their dads and stuff like that, and they fell in love with nature and bushcraft and being within the world, and then that would follow them all the way into their adult life, and they try and take the kids out to do that, but the kid's not fucking interested because they're sat at home on some Reddit forum arguing about whether we should accept this person's beliefs or this person's belief, or what the newest celebrity fuck up was, and why Burger King's a dick but McDonald's is great, and this is this and this, and it just fucking devolved so rapidly. And like, I think I was on the cusp of the generation where, like, when I was 9, 10, I was going out riding bikes and coming back home late and doing all that shit. But then just as I verged into my sort of early teens and stuff, I was sitting just playing games and messaging people and on YouTube, and like growing up on YouTube. So I've seen both sides of it, and it was bad enough how it could have affected me. I dread to think the way that's going to affect people in the future. But then a kickback to that is everything rapidly changed, and so there was like new ways to control people and new things kicking off. But at the same time, you've got people now questioning things. People like us exist on the internet where we're saying, you know, it might not always be how it is, and let's look into this. Like when I was a kid, there was a show called Mystery Hunters, and the tagline was "Things aren't always what they seem." And so we're kind of the next generation doing that thing for people. And I love the idea that the internet and social media being a tool for keeping people's attention might also be the one thing that keeps one eye open when they sleep, kind of deal. So who knows, maybe we will affect positive change or free thinking in some capacity.
Yeah, it's like that, and it's just about being open-minded, you know, not being locked into like what you see here. That's everything. Just keep your
And the
mind
thing as well
open.
is like, I'm not even saying don't believe the status quo.
No,
I'm saying question it, and if your conclusion that you come to is that everything is as it seems, fantastic. I'm just happy that you made that decision for yourself, not somebody told you to, or your mum's friend believes that, and so your mum now thinks that, and that's what you've been taught as well, or this company or this network of shows that you watch all starts using things of sort of this fashion and believe it this way, and this is what matters, so you now think that matters. Just figure out who you are and what you think, and if you come to the conclusion that you like what you're shown, brilliant. At least you got there yourself. That's what I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Too many people are just fucking completely fucked up and lost. I got very lucky that I went through my spiritual phase and figured out I'm very just happy with who I am early, because otherwise it could have fucked me over big time. A lot of people need to do that.
I know, like you and me, we've both gone through a weird phase, haven't we? Like with depression and anxiety and stuff like that. And I think we've both come out fairly good from it, to be honest with you. Like, because some people will be with them for their lives, and it can really mess you up. And I feel I've been lucky, especially with my anxiety, because I used to get that so bad throughout my like 20s and 30s, and then as I've got into my 40s and that, it seems to have kind of just faded away.
For me, I now know what it was because I've been diagnosed with what it was. But back at the time, I didn't have any clue what it was, and it was just I was kind of thrown into this world where nothing was what it was supposed to be, and I knew that, and I couldn't keep pretending it wasn't. I didn't fit in that world anyway, so it didn't really work for me. And now it's like, right, well, I'm now completely dysregulated. I don't know what the fuck's going on, who to trust, and what I do, and what this is. And then you kind of find a lane, and you recognise everyone's just, nothing really matters, and everyone's just kind of dancing around with their pre-recorded and rehearsed lines, and we all go and do the dance. And now you get to a point where you're like, I'll go and do the dance for a bit, but when I come home, I could just chill and do my thing, and I'll go do my thing for a bit, and then when I have to go back into that lane, I'll just swerve through it, so I'm not stuck in it all the time. And that's what's allowed me to survive.
Have come back around, innit? Obviously, like, we grew up, like, well, obviously when you was born, and you was around with me and that, and then we've kind of gone our separate ways. I lived in America, or Spain and America for a while, and we're back here together. We're doing this channel.
It's funny as well because I have a very vivid memory of being back in like the house that you and Mum grew up in, when I would just come and knock on your door at a random time. And then I come in, you'd be playing like a police driving game or some crazy thing, and I'd just sit there and we'd just sit and chill. And I'd ask about your guitar that never had strings on it, and we'd laugh about that or whatever. And that was when I was like, what, 4, 5? Like crazy young at that point. And now we're still here, filming videos, doing that, and it's, like you said, divulged and come back to...
It's got strings.
And I got that one for you as well, I remember.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's funny how it's come full circle, but that just shows it was meant to be. So we're doing something that is meant to be done. So I'm excited about that, and the future is going to be fucking awesome for it, I think.
Yeah, especially now things are like picking up. Obviously, the channel's almost like a year and a half old, isn't it? And now we're starting to get bit more consistent momentum.
The one thing I like is the comments. That's my favourite thing, because I don't often read them, but when I do, and I find those comments where people are like, we've got, I forget what the guy's name is, so if you are him, forgive me, but he'll come in, he'll provide a lot of context, like the history behind some of the things we talk about.
I think,
he's got quite a funny username.
Bobulous.
Yeah, I thought it was, but he will give some context on like the history of things, or sort of like, if we found some like loosely based stuff, he'll come in and fill us in on the blanks and stuff, and I love that. I love seeing people who are into it and enjoy it as we do, but can provide that extra bit of like.
I'd like to get out with it at some point.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And I love when we see that, and we've got like Dawn and a couple of people who are regulars and stuff who check in with us. I love to see all of that, and as the bigger the channel gets, we get more people who are able to do that. I know there's going to come a point where it's going to flip over and it's going to be too many people to keep up with. So
that's my probably concern, because obviously now I can easily keep up with comments and that, but when it gets to a point there's so many, you're like, I'll be sitting there all day long trying to...
But that's why other things like Discord and communities like that are perfect, because then you can still interact with people and you can still keep that personal sort of like bond you built with people. So that will be definitely a move for the future. Discord, I'll get that set up.
And at some point, well, we can get into doing a few live streams on YouTube and that. So
definitely,
we can just interact with the people that want to chat with us and that.
Yeah, and cool. An option for the future, a big group investigation at someone like Bodmin Jail or all over the country. We could do big investigations like that. We just got to start getting people together to start doing that.
I think if we can get free of our jobs and do this full time, then that's definitely a possibility, because obviously at the moment with the way with our work hours and that, it's not possible to go out doing stuff late at night and that during the week. So.
I mean, some things in the current situation, if we wanted to do like a get together at Bodmin Jail where we booked it out with like 10 different people, for example, it is feasible, but you've got to really wrangle it to the right time, kind of thing.
Yeah,
but doing it all
on
the
a
time,
weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We could figure that one out. But if we wanted to be doing bigger scale stuff like that more frequently, like we wanted to, like once a month, going away and doing like an overnighter investigation, then we'd have to dial it back up and work and up it on the YouTube. But that's for the future. I'm sure we'll roll with it and make it work no matter how it goes down, and just go from there.
Taking one step at a time, and
there we go. We've hit we've been yapping for nearly an hour. We're 5 minutes short of the hour. So there we go, folks. You've got a good catch up with us and a good natter about whatever we felt like talking about.
Which was a bit of everything, as usual.
We covered all of it. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the future. Is there anything you want to touch on before we start closing it out?
I don't think so, no. Like, obviously, if anyone out there watching, you know, that you've got any topics or anything in particular you'd like us to do videos on or chat about, you know, feel free to drop them down below, because we'd love to hear it, because we're always looking for new and interesting stuff.
I love finding a new thing that I've never heard of. Yeah. And if you are interested in maybe a Discord server that you'd be interested in joining, or something more community based, ideas that you might have for that, let us know, because we're always open to new stuff. We want to build this community, and you know, you guys can be a part of that. But with all that said, I think we can start closing this down now, because this has been a long podcast. An enjoyable one though. I was a bit like, how's this going to go? As always. But it went really well. So there we go.
It's just the same, isn't it? We always like start thinking, right, how are we going to go about this? And then we just get waffling. And that's
we should probably start trusting ourselves that we can actually pull this off, because we've been doing it all right so far. We've not missed a video, and it's been like a year and a half.
Yeah, we put a video out every single Friday. For a year and a half, near enough.
Yeah, and it will start ramping up.
And sometimes twice a week.
For a good while.
For a while, crazy stuff. Yeah, well, I think that's a wrap for that then, isn't it?
Right, well, folks, I will do the iCards and all that business, so you can check out our other podcast. You can check out our reactions playlist if you want to take a look at some of the internet's funniest and also scariest and creepiest moments. If you want to take a look at our paranormal investigations, there will be an iCard for that also. I think that pretty much covers everything. Yeah. And with all that said, we hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, rest of your evening. We thank you for joining the channel. Leave us a comment if you want to give us your opinions, and we will catch you again in the next one. Goodbye!